Hi, I'm Brian. Kettles on, make yourself a cup of tea. Now today I want to talk about Masters of the Universe Revelations on Netflix. This video will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, I would suggest not watching it, or if you have seen it, feel free to stick around, and if you haven't seen it but don't mind spoilers, again, feel free to stick around. Now, I'll start off by saying, growing up, I watched Masters of the Universe in the 80s. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I enjoyed it. I loved it as a kid. I've gone back and watched the episodes while I've grown up. To say I was a massive fan, I don't think that'd be right. A fan, yes. I enjoyed it. Massive fan, no. I loved the 2002 He-Man. I thought that was fantastic. I actually thought that was better than the 80s He-Man. I didn't love the 90s He-Man. But this new not He-Man. I almost called it He-Man Masters of the Universe there. It's just Masters of the Universe Revelation. This doesn't feel like He-Man. It starts off with Skeletor attacking Castle Grayskull. Nothing different there. Was always trying to get the power to control Eternia in the original series. And then the first episode is pretty much a big fight to protect Eternia. At the start of the episode, Teela is taking over Duncan as Man-at-Arms, and everyone is just telling Teela how fantastic she is and how she's brilliant at everything. Then during the ceremony for her being promoted to Man-at-Arms, the Sorceress calls out to Adam and they go to Grayskull. Now, the first episode isn't bad. I won't say it's fantastic, I won't say it's good. It's not bad. It does what a He-Man cartoon should do. He-Man, Skeletor, fighting, along with the rest of them beside them in a battle. That's pretty much all He-Man ever was. And then, at the end of the episode, the power of magic, which is kept in Grayskull, is shattered, and He-Man kind of contains it, uses the power sword to save Eternia, and in doing so reverts back to Prince Adam, and Teela finds out that Adam was He-Man. Then after it's all done and the power sword contained the blaster to save Eternia, it's broken in two, and He-Man and Prince Adam and Skeletor die. And then they go back to Grayskull to tell Adam's parents, King Randor, Queen Melina, that the son's died, and as they're grieving, Teela decides to take this opportunity to call everybody out for lying to them, because she feels bad because everybody's lied to her. I mean, they've just lost the son and the protector of Eternia, Prince Adam and He-Man, but Teela decides this is the best time to go, no, this is about me. And then she walks out and leaves, and that's the first episode. The second episode then kicks off with Teela and Andra going around retrieving magic artifacts for people, because magic's now in short supply on Eternia and they're worth a lot of money. They then spend the next couple of episodes on the quest to retrieve both parts of the power sword to bring magic back to Eternia to save the world and the universe. And then in the final episode, Prince Adam does come back. Teela then actually has a go at him for dying, saying how hard it was for her, and when he does mention he died, she turns around and says yeah, and the rest of us had to live with it, because again Teela decides to make it all about her. I mean, the show is centered around Teela, there's no denying that, no matter what Kevin Smith says or has said. But by the end of the fifth episode, Adam picks up the sword again, and as he's saying, by the power of Grayskull, he's stabbed by Skeletor, who wasn't dead, he was hiding in Evil Lyn's staff until magic was brought back to Eternia, and Skeletor takes the sword and becomes Skelligod, and that's how part one of this show ends. Now, I very much doubt I'll be back for part two after this first part. The show wasn't great. The animation for the show, Powerhouse Animation, has done a brilliant job. It looks fantastic. The storyline, I don't have a problem with. The bait and switch, which they did, I have a problem with. You can't market the show as a He-Man show, and I know his He-Man's title isn't in the title, it is just Masters of the Universe, not He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, but the show was pitched as being He-Man centric. Now, if they wanted to make a Teela show, all they had to do was say, we're bringing Masters of the Universe back, but it's going to be told from Teela's perspective. I wouldn't have had a problem with that. Fans of the 80s original cartoon wouldn't have had a problem with that, as Teela was a big part of the show in the 80s. But it's the fact that they've hid that fact behind going, we're bringing the show back, it's going to be everything the fans love about the show, it's going to be a continuation of it, and then it wasn't. Now, Clownfish TV did say this last year. They heard a rumour and put a tweet out about it, and Kevin Smith went on the defensive with it, denied it all, and on the build up to the show, as more information was coming out and more trailers were being released, and it was clearly showing that he was lying. The rumour that Clownfish had heard was true. He just kept digging in, saying it's not true, He-Man does no stepping aside. Well, no, he does no stepping aside because he's barely in the show to step aside with. Like I say, I will give it, the animation on this is superb. The plot isn't that bad. It is a decent plot, just poorly executed. And they've somehow managed to make a 25-minute episode feel like it lasts hours. I was that bored by episode 3. But I stuck with it, I want to see how it ended. But honestly, if you're looking for a good He-Man show, I would recommend the 2002 show. That was a superb reboot of He-Man, modernising it, bringing it up to date, but also keeping faithful to the original, which is, I think, the least we can expect from shows. But of course, TV shows, films, comics, any form of entertainment these days don't care about the original shows. They just want the name, because obviously the name brings some weight behind it, and then they can think they can do what they want and the fans will just accept it. But they won't. You've got this article here from Comic Book Resources. Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe audience rating is being review bombed. I mean, it's not being review bombed. I've seen the show. It is just a bad show. I mean, if you look on Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score, when I've looked on it, is 25%. That is not good for audience reaction of a show. Yes, the critic score is much higher at 94%, but at the end of the day, the critics aren't going to be the one tuning in to watch the show or buying the merchandise to go with the show. It's the audience, it's the fans. Those are the ones that's going to watch it. And I'm assuming Netflix and Kevin Smith and the producers would like rewatchability on the show. And I'm pretty sure that Mattel would like the toys to keep on selling, because by all accounts they have sold well before the show came out. How well they will continue to sell after the show's come out, well, that remains to be seen. I think Kevin Smith will have lost a lot of, if not all of the respect he had from fans after the way he's dealt with it. The way he's he hasn't even backpedaled, he's just dug his heels in and doubled down, calling people liars. They were saying what Clownfish TV reported was true. Anything that went against what he said, he completely denied it, saying the show was about He-Man, it's not a teaser-centric show. I mean, I don't know what he thought was going to happen when the show came out and people saw this. How is he going to deny it now? I mean, the show itself going forward, you've got Skeletor and Skelegod, you've got Prince Adam and He-Man dead, or looking dead. I don't think they will actually be dead. And I think by the end of it, it will be Teela that takes down Skeletor, and Prince Adam will tell her that she needs a sword as he'll pass it on to her, and she'll become He-Man if there's a season 2. Because honestly, I can't see this show going any other way. I mean, when the show was announced, there was a lot of promise behind it. Fans were excited, and then after the rumour, what was reported, fans were getting a bit weary. Still willing to give it a benefit of a doubt, as it was just a rumour, but a lot of fans in a lot of franchises have been burned far too much by people putting political views and just trying to make social commentary in franchises where it doesn't belong and it doesn't need it. Entertainment's meant to be there to entertain, it's not meant to be there to lecture people. But anyway, that's enough from me. What do you guys think? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Do let me know in the comments below. And that's all from me. I want to make a fresh cup of tea.